Good evening. Welcome to the 2014-15 school year. This meeting is primarily for athletics, for student athletes and the parents who are planning on participating in athletics during the school year. Also, our co-curricular clubs are part of this process as well. And my name is Dan Wilharm. I'm the athletic director at Jefferson High School. I will take about 30 minutes of your time tonight. I've got 20 slides, and I'll go quickly but efficiently and have an opportunity for questions at the end if you have any. And then Ms. Ralston, Jefferson High School principal, will speak briefly about the club portion of the co-curricular portion of tonight's meeting. So thank you for coming. We do this at an early date to get this process going prior to our fall sports starting, and I'll get to all the dates and everything as we move along. So again, thank you for coming. Appreciate you taking some time out of your summer. And this does, in a sense, kick off our school year, so here we go. What we're talking about here tonight for athletics is Jefferson High School being a part of the WIAA. WIAA is the Wisconsin Interscholastic Athletic Association. We are a member of that association, along with almost all high schools in the state of Wisconsin, and that has grown to include charter schools and things of that nature. And so the WIAA is the governing body that we answer to as a high school when it comes to our athletic eligibility. And participation in athletics, we always talk about that as a privilege. Being an athlete is a privilege. And so to do that, you have to satisfy certain requirements, and that's what we're talking about tonight because it's all predetermined. Everything that I'm referencing tonight is in this handbook. This handbook is also part of your student handbook. So you do not need to take notes. You do not need to memorize. You have this. You also have the student handbook. And pardon me while I turn down my phone because I hear someone else's phone and I don't want my phone to go off. There we go. All right, so being a member of the WIAA means that that's who, as a school, we answer to. As a member of the WIAA, we are also part of a conference. We are a member of two conferences. The Rock Valley Conference is the majority of our sports. We are also a member of the Southern Lakes for our two swimming programs, boys and girls swimming, and gymnastics, because the Rock Valley does not sponsor those sports. All of the other sports, we're a member of the Rock Valley. Rock Valley is comprised of two divisions, 16th in each division. The Southern Lakes, it depends on which sport you're in as to how many schools are participating in that particular sport. Jefferson High School, for a school our size, has, and I probably should research this to get the exact answer, but I'm not going out on a limb when I say this. For a school our size, we may offer the most number of sports in the state of Wisconsin. And I do not say that lightly. You don't see a school our size have boys and girls swimming, boys and girls tennis, gymnastics. Proud to tell you, in case you don't know, we are offering girls golf this fall, in addition to having boys golf in the spring. And so, I don't say that just saying it to brag. I say that as a point of information. For a school of Jefferson size, to have the number of sports we have, we need to appreciate that. And it's hard to appreciate that when you're in it. You just don't know any different. But I'm telling you, there is a difference. There are schools twice our size that don't have the number of sports we have, that don't have the facilities we have. We are very fortunate. And I try not to ever take that for granted, and I encourage all of you to pay attention as you go around and look around us. Athletically, I'll take our programs and stack them up against anyone. And while I say that, I think now is a good time for me to be proud again. I would like us to give a recognition, because we're going to keep doing it, because it doesn't happen very often. We have a state championship baseball team. And I'm very proud. We, of course, honored them as it occurred in June, but when you're not in school, you don't get to brag a lot. So I'm going to brag as much as I can about that, because that just doesn't happen very often, and it's something to be proud of. So as we continue on, we're talking about today the preseason for our fall athletes. We now offer 7 sports in the fall because of the addition of girls golf. When we look at preseason eligibility, we're asking our athletes to take care of the responsibility so they're ready for the first day of practice. And the first day of practice, you'll be told tonight for each of the sports. And as you prepare and look at all that, there's a slide coming up that we have a new process this year with online registration, and I'll be referencing that as well tonight. So you need to have a physical card. That physical card needs to be up to date. So we go color, and when you go to the doctor and get a physical, that's when you're using this green form. Green means that you're getting a physical. You're actually going to the doctor sometime, maybe yet this summer, or you just did it, or maybe you did it last year. Okay, that's when you have the green form, when you went to the physician and had a physical. That's one way to have an up-to-date physical, to turn in the green form. You also are able to turn in a white form that shows that you had a physical last year. So this would be the alternate year card. This form, you did not go to the doctor this year. This is the form, though, that tells us, as a parent, I'm fine with using last year's physical. My child had a physical last year. The parent signs this one. Okay? The doctor signs this one. You can't just say you're using the alternate year. You have to fill out this card. Okay? So again, there's two choices when it comes to a physical. Here's the process that some people follow. And if I would go out on a limb on this, I'll say the majority. Coming in as a freshman, they get a physical. As a sophomore, they do the alternate year. As a junior, they get a physical. As a senior, they do the alternate year. That would be common. That would be one path that a lot of families choose to take. You could get a physical every year. Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. Perfectly fine. That'd be a green form every year. Can you do this every year? Okay. Can't have an alternate year card for 4 years. Okay? If you had a physical in 8th grade, could you do this as a freshman? Yes. Because your 8th grade physical was last year, this could be your alternate year card this year. Physical as a sophomore, alternate year as a junior, physical as a senior. Some people do that. Okay? So it's up to an individual family as to how they want to handle the up-to-date physical. This is a non-starter. You will not step on a practice facility without this information, without any of this, to be quite honest. And we did a great job last year. Our coaches want you at practice. And in the past, we waited on some things, paying money, for example. But what we found is, when we wait, it just stays out there. And we're getting close to that first game, and we're still waiting. So now we don't wait anymore. We moved this meeting up. This is not the first year this meeting has been this early. And by talking to you on July 22nd, yep, we want everything in. 2 days before practice starts. Okay, so when you see the dates at the end, you'll know more about the timeline part of it. All right, you also need an athletic registration sheet, the concussion, the code meeting attendance card, and a user fee. Now, this past Sunday, you got an email. Hopefully you've checked your emails since Sunday. Oops, I went too far. And that email that came out this past Sunday gave you access to our first year of online high school registration. And in that online process, you are able to fill out all of the forms that we're talking about tonight, except the physical. We haven't quite yet figured out how to get that doctor to conduct the physical online. We're still working on that. Okay? Maybe someday. But I'll be long done by then. Okay? So we still need that. But everything else, except your attendance here tonight, with that card, you can do online. And we do want you to go online. We want you to experience that process, do it as much as you can. And I've got 2 slides here that are 2 of the screens you see when you go online. Please say yes online, even if you came to this meeting tonight. That's one thing I was asked to tell everyone. Even if you're here tonight, when you do your online registration, please do the athletic part. Okay? And say yes to the fact that you're going out for athletics. Then we'll ask you which sports you're going out for, and you'll be able to figure it out. I've gotten great reports from Valerie and Dawn so far of people doing this process since Sunday. Sunday was the first day you could have done it. That's when the email was sent out. If you didn't get an email and think you should have, I would say contact the high school office, talk to Dawn tonight. If you're sitting here and you don't think, you've looked at your email and you haven't seen something since Sunday from the school about registration, you should talk to somebody. This is one of the screens you'll see. This is one of the screens that's on the website when you go through that link. And the link is in the email that you got on Sunday. This is one of the screens you'll see. These are the forms that you can complete online. If you take forms tonight that are here and fill them out, that's wonderful as well. Again, the physical is still one thing you have to turn in. Okay? And that's the second screen that you see online. Okay, so I'm not expecting you to be able to see that perfectly, but I just wanted you to know that those two screens do exist as part of that process. We keep moving forward in terms of utilizing technology and making things easier in some respects. Still happy to see all of you here tonight. I don't think I can replace seeing people and being able to talk to in person, but this will make some things easier on both ends. Okay, moving in now to some of the code of conduct issues. One of the issues is student attendance. Not to get into my history at all, but I've been at Jefferson since 1985. I have former students sitting here. I got one here I could reach out and so some things they might remember from when they were in school, so I got to address them here tonight if they've changed. Because I don't want them telling their children what the rules were when they were in school. They're all over here. And so this is one of them. There used to be the half day. You could be in school for a half day and participate. Can't do that. You got to be in school the whole day. We need the students to be student athletes. That changed a while ago. That is not new. I'm saying that and pointing that out because I've had my former students remind me, oh yeah, we had the half day rule. Yeah, you did. Okay, but we don't anymore. Full day of school.
Can I also just interject that from this point forward in the presentation, just where all this also then pertains to all clubs as well. So attendance rule, if you're involved with an after-school club, it's the same thing it is for athletics. So the first part, when it was dealing with physicals and all the athletic forms to fill out, that was specific to athletics. From this point forward, the whole thing is being covered. Just want to make sure that you're aware that's in place.
That's Mr. Rouse. He's the principal. He likes to talk.
You got the microphone.
So student attendance, as with every rule, are there exceptions? Yes. If you're on a school trip, that's always an exception. It's part of school. Even though you're not physically here in the building that day, you're participating in school. Doctor appointments, funerals, things that are prearranged, yes, that's okay. But being tired, no. Not having a homework assignment done and missing that class and then you still want to practice that day, no. Okay, you need to be here the whole day. Especially, and every coach will tell you this as well, especially after we have an event during the week. No coach that teaches in the building likes to look and see that after the night of a game the next day, some of their team is missing. They just don't like it, and they shouldn't. You're students first. You're called student athletes, not athlete-student. So student first. Attendance for the full day. Oh, one other thing on there, even though I fenced forward there. If you're absent on Friday, you can participate on Saturday. Okay, it's for that day. So if you miss part or all of the day during the week, you cannot practice or play in a game that day. But if you miss a Friday, you could participate on a Saturday. Okay? All right, academic requirements for grades 10, 11, 12, our sophomores, juniors, and seniors. These are expectations at a school level. The WIA requires us to have this rule. Our school board approved this rule. This is Jefferson's rule. If you came from another school, if you have relatives in another school, their rule could be different. It very well could be. This is our rule. We're only required to have a rule, then we decided what that rule would be. If you fail 2 classes in a grading period, and a grading period is considered a quarter in quarter 1 and quarter 3, or it's a semester for semester 1 or semester 2. Semester grades take precedence over quarter grades in quarter 2 and quarter 4. If you fail 2 classes, you're ineligible the next 9 weeks. And that's non-negotiable, that's predetermined, that has been done. We're not deciding that when it happens. I'm telling you about it today when you're not even in classes. That's the rule, that's the expectation, that's the standard, and it's very reachable. Failing 1 class, earning below 1.6 GPA, grade point average, a student will be ineligible for competition for a minimum of 10 calendar days. They will be able to continue to practice, cannot play in games, and the minimum number of contests they'll miss is 2, and that's in every sport. Some sports, that covers 2 weeks. Football, we play on Fridays, our varsity, so you miss 2 Fridays. Baseball, you might miss 6 games in 2 weeks, in those 10 days. So it depends on the sport as to exactly how many contests you'll miss, but the minimum you'll miss is 2 contests. You could miss more. What would we prefer? Everyone meets these standards and goes as far above it as possible. This is the point that puts you in an ineligible category. Sorry for that being so touchy. Freshmen are on a different level, again, by our school choice, to have the opportunity for freshmen to learn what it means to be a student athlete. They get the benefit of a couple of things. Number 1, all freshmen are eligible right now. Coming in as new students to Jefferson High School, you are eligible. We also have a no-cut policy when it comes to freshmen participating in athletics. We will not cut a freshman from an athletic team. We will do whatever we have to do to keep freshmen on the team that their ability puts them on. But we do not cut freshmen. Freshmen also have the opportunity for a little higher rate of learning. 3 or more failing grades instead of 2 makes them ineligible. Again, we're trying to teach freshmen. We want to have them have the opportunity, but we still have a standard. 1 to 2 failing grades or less than 1.5 makes them ineligible for 15 calendar days. A longer stretch of time, because that's a time we're going to get in and really make sure those freshmen know what the expectations are, what they can do better, how we can help them. They're still going to practice if they're in that second group, and we want to keep them in it, but they got to learn what it means to be a student athlete. Freshmen on JV or varsity, though, have to follow what their teammates follow. So if you're a freshman and your ability puts you on the JV or the varsity, your expectations are the same as your teammates. I think that makes pretty good sense. So if your ability puts you somewhere, your academic expectations are raised as well. Our code of conduct then, again, as part of this book and to be in your student handbook as well, refers to things beyond academics when it comes to expectations of student athletes. We are required to have a 12-month enforcement and expectation when it comes to the things that are on the following slides. Again, I re-emphasize that participation in athletics is a privilege. And because it's a privilege, it can be taken away. You'll always be a student here. You may be subject to consequences as a student. Your consequences as an athlete are predetermined, as you'll see again here in a moment, as you saw with academics, but athletics is a privilege. Performance-based, the code of conduct, the things that we're asking our athletes not to be doing, the things to avoid, are because they all affect performance. And if you're in athletics and you're part of a team and you have a coach putting in all that time, performance matters. And so these are things that we're asking you to do or not do because they affect your performance. There are also some legal issues. And again, as you see the list, you'll see what I mean. And as an athlete, I could stand here and say I was proud to say we have a state championship baseball team, which I am, but I'm also proud of our athletes that don't win state championships, that are on a team that finished 500 in a conference. Our boys soccer team, for example, last year had a great season. Didn't win a state championship, had a great season though. I know that. Okay? I hope they knew that. And I can go across the board and talk about accomplishments that don't rise to that level of a state championship, but we want to be proud of the representation of the athlete representing their family, the athlete who represents our school, and the athlete who represents our community. We believe in that. Our coaches believe in it. Our coaches want this enforced. I'm standing here telling you it will be enforced. If it needs to be done, it will be done. So please take it seriously. Please be an athlete, not just in name, but an athlete in how you handle yourself, how you make choices. And your coaches will talk to you about this all the time. You do have to sacrifice. You do have to make choices. You do have to give some things up in order to be an athlete. Guilt by association is one of the things referenced in the handbook. You may not have actually done the thing that you were not supposed to do, but you were there. Okay? Every one of these things is judged individually, but every one of these things is judged with this as the guide. We do not make it up as we go. Do we encounter new situations periodically? And we use this as our guideline as far as we can, and then we'll go from there. Of course, in all this, I would work closely with the high school administration, Mr. Dinkle, Mr. Allison, and we would adjudicate this as best we could. But guilt by association is mentioned in there. School suspensions. In school, you're ineligible that day of an in-school suspension, and out of school, you're missing contest for the number of days that you have an out-of-school suspension. Okay? We're now getting into the territory. I don't like talking about this. I really don't. But it's all predetermined. It's all in here. I'm going to go through it as quickly as I can to let you know that it's there, and then I hope you never have to worry about it again because you don't put yourself in the position of having to deal with this. Code of conduct is separated by classifications in terms of their seriousness. Class 1 is the serious criminal acts that are punishable at a high level, at least 12 months of consequence. And you're in the legal system there. And the legal system will be our guide, and that will put you into a Class 1 Code of Conduct violation. Class 2, again, illegal actions that are deemed unbecoming an athlete. Selling, distributing, possessing, or consuming the things that are listed there. Those are part of a class that has another level of consequence. Those consequences are listed. Sorry. There we go. Those consequences in Class 2 are based on the violations as they occur during high school, during your high school career. So up to 4 violations. And that 4th violation will be done. Up to that, it's predetermined what your consequence will be. Mr. Dinkle, Mr. Allison, and I will judge each situation on its own merits, but once we've decided that there is a violation, this will be the guide as to the consequence. So you need to know that. You're going to miss a quarter of a season. You're going to miss half of a season. You're going to miss a calendar year. Okay? Know that ahead of time. Know that's out there. Have that be part of your decision-making process. And that's what we want. We don't want to deal with this. But it's there if we need it. Off of that, thankfully. We have an athletic trainer. Last year was the first year that we had a relationship with UW Health Partners in the Watertown Regional Medical Center, and the trainer is hired by them. We have a contract with them. Happy to say that Melissa is back this year. Melissa was our trainer for all of last school year. She will be again this year. Outstanding. I find her to be professional, really understands the student mentality when it comes to athletics, really gets the parent part of it. Couldn't have been happier with Melissa last year, and I look forward to her working with us again. She is here every day. She is at all of our events that are listed there, where we deem that a trainer on site is necessary, and we're happy to provide this service and happy to have Melissa on our staff. All right, on to some dates. So we're here on July 22nd. When do we, why so early, Mr. Wilhar? Well, football starts issuing equipment on August 4th, so it isn't that early. Because I'm not doing one of these before every sport, I'm doing it before the season. If you're watching the video, and people that aren't here, that are unable to be here tonight and are watching the video, have the same responsibilities. And so watching the video is part of the process before the first practice as well. None of you have to watch the video because you're here tonight. Football will have their equipment issue on Monday, August 4th, and it goes by grade in terms of the times. At the end tonight, when I started, there were 4 of my fall coaches here. I will make them available for anyone that has questions. I have a 5th coach that might be here at 7 o'clock, and so I'm very happy that those coaches were able to come tonight. So if you have specific sports-related questions, you will have an opportunity tonight in addition to what I'm saying here. Football actually begins practice then on August 5th. They are in their contact days now, so if you're sitting here and planning on playing football and you haven't been involved, that would be one for sure. You want to see Coach Peterson before you leave tonight. Then in order, boys soccer will be the next one that starts along with girls golf on Monday, August 11th. Boys soccer, they practice at West Elementary on the soccer fields over there, and they'll start at 8 a.m. on Monday, August 11th. Girls golf will begin on Monday, August 11th. Coach Smith is here tonight. He'll talk about the particulars if you have questions regarding that. Girls swimming will be on Tuesday, August 12th in our beautiful pool at 8 a.m. Girls tennis, Coach Rogers is here tonight, Tuesday, August 12th at 8 a.m. on our beautiful tennis courts. Boys and girls cross country. Those of you who have signed up for cross country may already know this. Coach Carstens is expecting her and her husband's first child. We are very fortunate to have Coach Isaacson, teacher at East Elementary, who is cross-country background, to take over for Coach Carstens this year. And that was a very fortunate opportunity we had to take someone that he's got cross-country coaching experience. We're very lucky, and Coach Carstens will be missed, but we're happy for her and her husband. They will start on Monday, August 18th, and volleyball will start on Monday, August 18th, and Coach Fairfield is here tonight as well. As you leave tonight, things that you filled out, maybe you brought along a physical sheet tonight. Maybe you can fill out this tonight because you know you had the physical last year. This you received tonight, and you can fill out and leave here as you leave tonight. So there are some forms that you can do, but again, we are asking and wanting everyone to go online and to look at the registration information online. Go ahead, Mr. Ganser.
The purple form has to be turned in tonight. Don't take it home and turn it in next week with the rest of your stuff. I won't accept the purple form. It has to be left here tonight.
That's this one. That's the proof that you were at this meeting. So you wouldn't want to be here and not turn this in, because then we're going to have to tell you to watch the video. So this little one is the only one you have to turn in tonight. And if you didn't grab one, you can grab one on the way out. These are only available here tonight.
Unless you want to watch the video, it is good.
Yeah.
And you can enjoy watching it. So
it's awesome.
You bet.
The registration for the high school is August 5th. Okay, before don't talk yet. So here again, with my touchy, this is the online athletic portion of the process that you'll see. If you have questions about that, call the high school office, talk to Mrs. Ganser out here tonight. This is the second one that goes with that. So I put this in here twice, there we go, so that you could see it and have some understanding of what we're expecting. Now I'll let Mr. Allison talk, and when he's done, I'll point out where each of our coaches that are here tonight will be if you have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Larm. Couple things. One, throw a couple numbers at you. 337 students last year participated in one or more sports. That's 53% of our student body were involved with a minimum of one sport. 509 students were involved with a club, a minimum of one club. That's exactly 80% of our student body was involved with at least one club. That's a lot of participation. This meeting here tonight, as well as the online video or a makeup one we'll do in the winter for people that missed it and they're involved with a winter sport, covers all of those for the year. So one-shot deal for the year to complete this whole piece. As far as clubs are concerned, we really wanted to tie the piece of the fact that academics does come first prior to athletics, and the same thing, academics comes first prior to drama, prior to forensics, and other aspects of school, and yet it's kind of difficult. Not all of them have contests. How do you, if somebody violates the athletic code in basketball, you can just say, hey, you know what, you're going to miss so many games. How do you do that with FBLA as an example? And so there are things in the book that describe what those consequences would be. And then there are others where a consequence could happen. Drama as an example, we had a great production of The Wizard of Oz this last year. If a key character is all of a sudden violates the athletic code right before the big event, that's no different than violating the athletic code right before the big game. And so those, all of that can be affected due to a violation. A couple other thoughts. On a positive note, I don't know, off the top of my head from last year, Mr. Dinkle, Mr. Wilharm, 2 times maybe, we had to talk to people about violations of the athletic code that were of the steeper nature. No felonies and that kind of stuff. I'm not talking class 1 sorts of things, but of the steeper nature. But at the same time, we've all been around the block long enough to know that there are people, there are students that are out there, and they are violating the code. There's no doubt. A stereotype that sometimes happens is you'll hear somebody say, yeah, you know what, if they're the starter, they'll close a blind eye. I don't buy that. I really don't. In fact, I've had coaches come to us and say, I've got an athlete that I believe is violating the athletic code. That's coming from the coach. That's not coming from a citizen or a parent or a student that's on the bench. That's coming right from a coach. And I respect that of our coaches to say, I want to do the honorable thing, and I want to bring this information to everybody. Not because it's important to bust someone. If it's all about busting students, we all should have gotten our license as police officers instead. No, I'm not ripping on police officers, but there's a different type of responsibility. But it's not busting somebody, it's a lifestyle we get concerned about. We want to work with parents and work with counselors and work with students, and as a result of that, there is a violation too. And when you make poor decisions in life, consequences happen. And so there's a reason behind all of this, and we certainly want to work with adults and work with everybody with the whole piece. My part of grabbing the microphone again is just to make sure we wrapped all that up, but we have a line of communication, and to make sure that you realize that indeed this is a part of the club sign-up that takes place this year too, which includes all of our clubs, J Club, FFA, FBLA, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The only 2 things that it does not cover, all right, so to get this part straight, is evening band concerts and evening choir concerts, because that's part of the course. That's part of the class itself, and so students are always able to participate in a band concert or a choir concert. It's a part of their grade. That's it. That's all I've got. Mr. Wilharm, Mr. Dinkle, anything else? Yep. He said that I talked a lot. He went for 30 minutes. I went for 5. I just want to point that out real quick. So, all right.
But I said I was going for 30, and I did it. So, to finish up, if you're watching the video online, there will be a 10-question checklist to fill out online and print it and bring it to the office. If you are here tonight, you do not have to stay and meet with one of our coaches in the fall sports. You may be up to date and everything. Have a great evening if that's the case. But if you're staying, Coach Smith is right there. He's going to stand up and be right down there. Coach Peterson's going to come right down here. Coach Fairfield's going to go right over there. Coach Isaacson is coming right down front here. And Mr. Rogers is going to stand up right where he's sitting.
Hey, Steve. Hey, how you doing, John?